want to grow up in a world where girls are respected. I want to grow up in a world where girls are empowered. Where girls get paid the same as boys. I want to grow up in a world where girls could always go to school. Where girls are leaders. Where girls are valued. Where girls could be anything they want to be. I want to grow up in a world where girls are safe from violence. Where girls are not for sale. Where girls are not for sale. Where girls are not for sale. Be part of the solution. Help prevent the commercial sexual exploitation of girls. Join the World for Girls campaign at www.gems-girls.org.
Good evening. I'm Rachel Lloyd. I'm the founder and CEO of GEMS, Girls Educational and Mentoring Services. Although if you're here, I'm guessing you probably already know that. You just saw our video that we made a few years ago called A World for Girls. And that video has been on my mind a lot lately because I've been thinking about it's been a really tough year for everyone, almost 2 years now. And it's been particularly a tough year for the girls and young women that we serve at GEMS. The things that we talk about, the kids are talking about in the video, we've seen, racial injustice, magnified. We've seen the realities of economic injustice. We've seen how the criminal justice system fails so many people. We've seen, just the divide that is so present in our society. We've seen well-known trafficking cases over the last couple of years. We've seen misogyny and sexism. So all of those things that the kids are talking about for this kind of vision of the world that we need in order for girls to not be for sale. It feels like we're kind of far off that sometimes, or often. And yet, over the last year, there's been some really good things that we've seen come out of this, both in the world, in people's awareness of what's happening, and people's awareness of kind of the disparities and injustices and inequities that are finally getting talked about on multiple levels. We've seen, people kind of step up in lots of ways and be really kind of motivated and activated to serve and to support other people. And you're part of that by joining GEMS and by supporting GEMS. Many of you, I'm guessing, are, and just from looking at the RSVP, I know are long-time supporters, and we could not kind of do this without you, but it's exciting to see new people come on board too. And I'll say, just, there's been some really amazing stuff that's come out of GEMS. I did not think we would get through. If you told me we would be here 2 years ago, I don't know how I thought we would get through. But there's been some really good stuff that's come out of the last year and a half. And so we wanted to just share a little bit tonight with you. Look, this is a iPhone production. This is a budget, indoors, virtual, doing what we can with what we have production. But we hope that, even though there's not the cocktails and the, Sia singing or Jada Pinkett Smith talking or whatever amazing things that we've had at prior benefits, I know that what I've heard from people is what matters to them and what resonates with them when they leave has been like the stories and the passion and the insight and courage of our young women. And so tonight you'll get to hear from girls and women who really are working to make the world a better and safer place for themselves, for their peers, for their children. You'll hear from staff who have been phenomenal this year, and I am so grateful and so proud of all of them. They've really done an amazing job. And you'll hear from girls and young women sharing kind of, some of the things that have impacted them over the last year, and some of the triumphs and successes and some of the challenges. So we look forward to you joining us for this little slice of gems. And we hope you'll stick around to the end. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention we also have an auction. And so feel free to check that out on the We Do site, which is in the thing under the video on the thing. You guys know what I mean. So if you see something you want to bid on, or you just want another way to donate money, please feel free. And please, feel free to share this with friends and family members who you think would resonate with. Again, we are grateful for you, and thank you for coming tonight, or tomorrow morning, or Saturday morning, or in 2 weeks, whenever you watch this video. So thanks, and I will see you at the end. Bye.
Resilience to me is the ability to overcome any obstacles or negative experiences that one has had, being able to learn from those experiences and using that as motivation, as empowerment, as inspiration to continue working on ourselves and on our individual goals.
Resiliency to me means the ability to kind of come back from any type of bad situation and just having the perseverance to keep moving forward.
I think resilience is everything that a GYMS member is. From the time that we're born, we've been through so much stuff, and we automatically have figured out how to, unfortunately, survive some of the most horrendous things that somebody could ever experience in their life. And we have to figure out, how do we keep moving forward? How do we find strength? How do we find motivation, drive, energy to literally sometimes even just do but everyday tasks, like simple as making up your bed? And our members are incredibly resilient. They go to school, they work, they go to groups, they're friends, they're mothers. They give the best of themselves to people. They work on themselves. They're constantly trying to figure out how to improve themselves. A GYMS member literally is the embodiment of the word resilient.
What inspires me to keep moving forward is seeing the girls go through their challenges, and despite of it all, they still keep pushing forward. And that's what inspires me the most.
What inspires me to move forward is seeing the members achieve their goals every day. I love seeing them make little short-term or long-term goals for themselves and see how they persevere and how they actually attain what they want in life. And it makes me inspired to keep doing what we do every day at GEMS. One time a member inspired me this year. They have been really looking for a job ever since they had a kid a few years back, and she's been working on stuff and getting her GED and all that. She had so many things that should have set her back because she came from a DV relationship and all that stuff, but she kind of got through it. And now I'm happy to say that she has a part-time job that she loves, and she's continuing to get her GED, and her kid is in daycare, and they're doing really well.
I provide therapy to the members at GEMS and am inspired by what transpires in those sessions on a weekly basis. One such member was referred to me and had been experiencing quite a lot of ambivalence about the therapeutic process, about mental health in general. And I watch every week as that ambivalence wanes, and what is left behind is an incredible commitment to real behavioral change and true insight. And to have seen where she started with really wanting to deny herself 45 minutes to just give herself space to vent and process and face her trauma. And I feel honored to bear witness to that and help with that process.
Being able to work with the members, advocate with them and for them, to make sure that they're getting the support and services they need, and even being able to be persistent, even in situations where they might not feel motivated, to kind of help them see their own individual strengths and their own abilities, and to motivate them to continue working on themselves. So that's one way that I think that my resilience and my strengths have been applied in this role here at GEMS.
Hi, my name is Chantel. I want to thank you for joining the GEMS Virtual Gala. I'm incredibly honored to be speaking before you today on behalf of the hundreds of girls and young women that GEMS serves every day. Thank you, Rachel, for creating a space where girls like me can feel safe, seen, and empowered. I've been a GEMS member a little over 10 years, and I've been supported every step of the way. I remember being a 14-year-old girl walking into the GEMS office for the very first time, nervous and scared, worried if people were going to like me, worried if everyone was going to know why I was there. But I was greeted with friendly staff and girls that were just like me. I quickly realized it didn't matter if they knew, because they understood and were here to support. It would have been great if that was the end of my story. I found GEMS, exited the life, and lived happily ever after. But that wasn't the case for me, like many other victims of CSEC. Leaving the life is a process, and it often takes several attempts. There are many reasons why we go back, whether it be to escape parental abuse and neglect, homelessness, or just because you feel like you're leaving the only person that cares about you at that time. The mind of a teenage girl is a very tricky place. And I can't understand why sometimes someone can show you the smallest amount of kindness when it feels like no one else will. And it makes you feel indebted to them. It makes you willing to do things that harm yourself for that person. The things that we experience while being in the life are traumatic and take a very long time for us to heal from. Every day I suffer with PTSD, among other things, and I want to thank GEMS for their continued support in my healing process. Society says that I should be at a certain place at 26, but society also doesn't understand what it's like to work in a male-dominated workforce while being a survivor. Society also doesn't understand that it could be the smallest thing that makes me feel like I'm back to being that 14-year-old girl again. But GEMS does. They get it. And they offer a lot of support around things of that nature. I am currently a college student, one semester away from graduating with my associate's degree in business management. I would not be here without GEMS. They've offered me a lot of support and encouragement in regards to continuing school and finishing. With the Educational Initiative Program, I was able to receive a laptop in order to complete my online classes. And also, I received stipends for registering for my classes and passing my classes. While all of those things are amazing, it's also something else that is really helpful for me. That is the weekly college support groups that we have, where girls like me that are survivors of CSEC, that are also in college, we all get together and have a group and talk about our current stressors and things that we're going through with school, our classes, and things like that. That support is so amazing to me, and it's something that really helps me get through, because it lets me know that other people just like me are going through the things that I'm going through. In closing, I would like to say that GEMS is a support, better yet, a family for a lot of girls like me who wouldn't have one otherwise. I want to thank you for supporting GEMS so that they are able to support girls like us.
This year, gyms have helped me by providing psychological support in the form of mentorship. Allowing me to speak with an experienced mentor once a week motivated me to broadly analyze my own mental health. Gyms have also supported me by awarding incentives for school and work. I have grown this past year by letting go of conditions that kept me mentally and emotionally bound to depleting bearings. Letting go of pain and confusion helped me focus on what's important and made space in my imagination for future success and health. I am proud of my hard work, sacrifices, and significant connections that happened both naturally and those I've contrived. I am also proud of recognizing self sabotaging habits and letting go of unhealthy relationships.
I just want to say I'm grateful for y'all. Like I'm grateful for Jazz because y'all empowered me to become the woman I am today. Like y'all helped me like throughout these years and made me a better individual. Like, and it was hard because since COVID, like a lot of jobs has shut down and everything has shut down. We couldn't go nowhere. And since COVID, we had to do like online groups. Yeah, I know we all depend on that, even like to stay occupied, even for the stipends, because we get stipends to attend every group. Y'all all really helped me for school because if it wasn't for y'all pushing me to do my best, I wouldn't be graduating. I graduate in the spring of 2022 for the bachelor's. Y'all help us professionally, emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially. And I couldn't thank y'all enough. Thank you.
Looking back, like as Rachel talks about those generations, I think for me, what has been so crucial, like in my life and like what I like strive to be like for gyms members is for me having women. Like I remember after we were talking yesterday about toxic relationships, I remember my first breakup being in the office in the midst of my own little depression, telling the same story over and over and over to different staff because I was really going through it, right? But Jim's was my space. Oh, Rachel must remember. Um, but Jim's was my space to have support that I really couldn't get anywhere. And I think even like in my own family dynamics of learning about what's healthy, what's not healthy, having just strong women to listen to me and to support me, to encourage me, to motivate me. I didn't have that in my personal life. I didn't have a space where it was okay for Shaquana to be Shaquana and nobody was judging her. It was a space where there were just strong women that I just didn't have. And I think anytime that you can see that example, that more women that are young, like I remember like just even thinking about over the years, gym staff seeing like really young, strong, Black, educated college women that like were doing it. And like I had never seen that like in my personal life, like living in Brownsville or East New York. I didn't know about, right, until like I remember, like even though I felt like I always did really well in school, it wasn't I feel like college was kind of like a hypothetical. And I remember like Rachel's older sister, and this is before EI had actually formed, was like, okay, we're gonna bring you down to the school and we're gonna do this together, right? Like, had she not done that, I don't think I probably would have ever started college. So gyms for me has always been this place of, even like, God forbid if we didn't even have the groups, it's just always been this place of young people need examples. We need models. We need people that look like us. We need people that are experiencing the same things that we're experiencing. And had I not had that, I don't know where I would be. So that's something I'm very grateful for. And I always try to do my best. I always try to be my best. I always try to, yesterday we were talking about imagining, that person that you already are. Because sometimes we forget about that. I always try to look to that person and pull on that. And it makes me so like to hear Kenzie talk about what she's doing right now. And I always have I have specific moments in my life that I remember gyms members in the office. I have a moment for Ashley, I have a moment for Kenzie. Just seeing you guys where you are right now, we're all, I think everything in life happens, the good and the bad sometimes accordingly. Sometimes we want things I wanted to be where I was maybe 5 years ago and you weren't ready for it. So, everything takes time. And, I just admire you guys. And even like right now, not knowing what was going to happen, Kinsey, like you're almost finished with school. So I think that's so special. And I'm so, proud of each of you guys. Sorry.
I wanna say thank you again because without Gems, I felt lost when I got charged, and make a long story short, and I had 2 programs to go to, and the other program I didn't like. It made me feel very uncomfortable. There was people there was like drug addicts. It was different ages. So when I bumped into Gems, like I felt so welcomed and so like this is so me. Like the space, the art, the everything. Like who interviewed me, not saying it, like she was like so welcoming and like so, and I felt like yes, this is me. Like, and I had like some guidance, not some guidance. I received my my high school diploma. I'm currently in college, and you guys are still supporting me and helping me because right now it's kind of difficult, with having the baby. But I'm trying to push to continue, the school, but I'm so thankful for you guys.
It's okay, honey.
You're making me cry.
Having a baby in a pandemic is tough, right? And then being in school and having a newborn and in a pandemic is extra tough. Like, and there's been so many stresses over the last like year and a half, not just the pandemic, but right, George Floyd's murder and kind of all the stuff that kicked up. And right, we still talk about that in group and just kind of the pain that has like caused and that continues to resonate, like the stress of like the election. I mean, there's so many things that were just like super, super stressful. And then just being a new mom, like, you got mommy brain a little bit, and that's okay. Like, this, right? That's a normal phenomenon.
I thought it was me, Rachel, and then I started learning about that, and I was like, it gave me a little sense of relief.
I was sending you all those articles to be like, nah, this is a thing.
That is really a thing, like seriously. And also, I think, Ashley, just give yourself grace. I mean, I have 4 children, and this semester I decided that it was best for me to take my last, like this was supposed to be my last semester, but I decided that it was best for me to wait until the spring semester to continue because it was just a lot of uncertainty, like with whether the kids were going back to school and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I just decided that I would just defer for a semester. But you have to give yourself grace. Like one thing that I realized, like when you're trying to do school and then you got your kids and then you got all of this stuff going on, sometimes you just have to say to yourself, and this is something that I do with myself every day. I just look in the mirror and I say, you know what, Shandell, you're doing the best that you can. And right now, that's all you can do. And sometimes it feels like it's not good enough, but you're doing the best that you can. And that is good enough.
And I always ask to Ashley, when me and her text, I always tell her, like, stay strong because storms don't last. Like, look in the mirror and say something positive to yourself, stay strong, don't be hard on yourself, you're a great mom.
Thank you. I'm my worst critic.
I know. Our mind be messing with us.
You're hard on yourself.
Don't listen to
it. Like,
don't listen
it's so
to it.
easy, right? It's so easy for us to find flaws within ourselves. It's so easy for you to look and say, "Oh, well, I couldn't do this, or I couldn't this, and I couldn't that," and it's easy for us to look down on ourselves. But sometimes we just gotta say, "You know what? I couldn't do this, but that's okay. It's okay. This couldn't happen. Okay." And listen, I'm working on that every day. Rachel has to remind me of this all the time to give myself grace and that it's okay. But one thing that I am learning is that I have to do that myself also. I have to remind myself that sometimes it's okay. And just take it one day at a time.
I agree, because like, even though I look happy, I am happy, but some days I have my moments, like I've been going through a lot, dealing with, my breakup. And, I'm an overthinker. So like my mind be me sometimes. And it's just like, I gotta like, stay strong, have a clear mind. Because like when I overthink, it's just like, it mess up like
a lot of things for me. So I'm like, oh, well, let me just stay strong, you know, say something positive to myself or listen to some meditation so I can relax.
I mean, I think I'm listening to you guys like encourage Ashley and thinking, right, me and Shaquana are like, our job is done. Right, like you have, and that's the thing, you have the network of each other, right? And what blew me away last year, especially when things were really very it felt very dark, was just how incredibly encouraging and supportive you've been to each other. At times when I knew you were freaking out, and right, other girls, they were, but like watching that peer support within group consist like every day just was amazing. Because right, some of you right, it was true for all of us. We'd have days when we were like feeling pretty good and like we can handle this, and days when like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. And you really like kept lifting one another up and encouraging each other. And I think, it's been a weird time of like the time when we've needed each other the most, like right, as gems, as human beings, is the time when we've been like forced apart, right? And so normally in crisis, and I mean people have, right, we've had staff and people who've had to, and some of you guys have had to like say goodbye to people and not even get to like grieve, right, in community. Like we don't get to eat in community, all the things that we would normally do together, like we don't get to do. And so I think it has been this really it's been an incredibly isolating time and very easy to get in your own head.
I just wanted to show y'all real quick. I was like, speaking of resilient, right? I got the word because I'm making a new vision board. I have a small one. I'm making a new one, because I'm like, I need to like motivate myself and push myself and like, goals with my daughter and I. So I got resilient on my board.
Since the pandemic began in March of 2020, we've had over 735 online groups. That's a 55% increase from 2019. We've made services accessible to an additional 47 new women and girls who have been commercially sexually exploited, a 59% increase from 2019. Approximately 600 care packages that include food, toiletries, diapers, masks, craft supplies, adult coloring books, and activities were provided for more than 100 women and children. During lockdown, we sent over 10 hotspots and 24 laptops so that GEMS members could access online school. Our educational initiative provided support to 70 girls and young women to help them navigate high school, GED prep, and college. We were able to support 68 members with job readiness for internships, vocational schools, or working through the GEMS Pathway program. More than $100,000 was given in stipends to our members in 2020, a 41% increase from 2019. All of this happened virtually. GEMS has had over 2,000 meetings via Zoom for telehealth therapy, groups, case management, and/or personal check-ins.
My hopes for GEMS in the next year is definitely to still be part of the GEMS family and to continue working with our supportive team and helping our members achieve their goals, to see our members graduate from the program or self-discharge because they have achieved their goals in terms of whether it be securing their own independent housing, reunification with family and friends, or completing educational goals. So, and obviously welcoming a new set of members to help them to work on their goals as well. So I hope to be here in the next year to see that come into fruition.
My hope for GEMS in the next year is, of course, that the office opens up and that GEMS becomes a worldwide movement.
My hope for GEMS in the new year is that we can do more for our members. Our members are incredibly resilient and strong And, they're willing to put in the work. And I think when we have tools and resources and knowledge to give them, they run with it. I think over the last, I guess, like year and a half or pandemic years, however long it's actually been, one of the things that I've seen is that, people have to stay connected. So as simple as not being able to have a phone or a laptop, not being able to have Wi-Fi, not have being able to, I think things like that used to be necessarily considered luxuries, and those aren't really luxuries anymore. Those are kind of necessities. So I guess, things that I would want gyms to be able to do is be able to, help continue to support members with their necessities to be able to continue to communicate, to thrive, and, make their lives better. I want for us to be able to do more. The more that we are able to give our members, the more they're able to do. I want us to continue to be able to incentivize our members for like all of their success, whether it's work, whether it's employment, whether it's the, therapeutic services or the groups that they're going through to weekly. Those are things that, obviously, financially make our members' lives better, but also, these are tools that are helping our members to gain knowledge, to gain, skills that are essentially going to help them survive this world and, make a life for themselves.
Hey, it's me again. Just to close out and say thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. I know we didn't get to have dinner and cocktails and all that good stuff, but I hope you enjoyed hearing from staff and hearing from amazing young women, and I hope you learned a little bit about what we've been up to over the last year and a half while we've been quietly toiling away. I just want to kind of say that this whole kind of theme of resilience. I mean, I've been thinking about kind of, our girls have had to learn to be resilient. We knew that. They've had to be resilient because of really bad stuff that happened when they were kids and when they were teenagers, and they shouldn't have had to learn some of that. But I will say that just over the last year and a half, it's not just been their resilience, but their like capacity for compassion and empathy, and their insight and gratitude. And I don't mean gratitude in a like non-profity gratitude way, like, people should be grateful for what we give them. I mean, like, there was something really moving about being in group, in the middle of May or April when things were really dark and really scary, and I was doing like nightly check-ins at like 9 every night to make sure that girls kind of had a face, even though they had like tons of group all day. At the end, I wanted them to make sure they had someone to talk to at the end of the day, because it was, people were scared. But to hear them talk about like, I'm just grateful that I'm alive, and I'm grateful I have a roof over my head, and girls are staying in shelters, like one room with a kid, and a hot plate, and talking about gratitude for like just being alive and having a community and having people who loved them and were focused on keeping them safe, and just the way that they like supported one another and cared about what was happening in the world. Right, it was a tough time, obviously, throughout the year, but just it was more than resilience. It was compassion, and we've seen a lot of people not show compassion, right, for other human beings over the last year and a half. And so when I would feel really like kind of despairing of like humanity at times, I would log in and see the girls and see the way that they encourage one another and the way they were interested and curious about what was happening in the world and wanting to, like, you know, stand up for themselves and wanting to, you know, speak out and protest and all of those things, and just being phenomenally proud and having a little faith in humanity restored. And so we are, you know, grateful as an organization. I am grateful personally, for GEMS and for the girls in my life that, you know, I think a lot of us as staff, you know, we were having a tough year too. And just knowing that, like, we could kind of log on and have this community and that it still was so strong, those bonds were still so strong. And, you know, we've talked a lot over the last year how GEMS isn't like a place, right? I mean, we've tended to think of it as like the drop-in center and with this specific couch, and right, it's very like kind of iconic in the girls' minds, like the way that the setup is, and you know, you walk in and like someone hugs you and this person is always sitting at the front desk and blah blah. But like over the last year, you know, it's been really clear that GEMS isn't a space. And while it's been incredibly hard for people to lose initially that space, and that space where they got hot meals and diapers and toiletries and clothing donations and, I mean, right, and love and support and use the computers for homework or look for jobs, or right, I mean, you could spend all day there and just like hang out with your peers and talk to your counselor. And I mean, to like go from having that to suddenly not having that, and not having a ton of support outside of that, and that being kind of your only source of support, was phenomenally hard. And it felt really hard to shut that down and take that away, even if we were doing it, you know, to keep people safe. And so to see, you know, and I was scared about what that would look like, but to see this community just kind of really not miss a beat and just keep sticking together. And, you know, there's been so many times that feel like we'll be like, oh, that feels like old GEMS. That feels like regular GEMS, after a group or after, you know, conversation or whatever, where it just feels like, oh yeah, we could be right in front of each other in the office and it doesn't feel like there's any distance in between us. And I'm really proud that over, you know, 23 years, unbelievably, get ready for the 25th anniversary in 2 years. It will be in person, not over Zoom. But over 23 years that we have built a community that is strong, and that can withstand, right, this kind of, I hate to use the word unprecedented because it goes so overused, but really an unprecedented pandemic, you know, just a really tough summer of racial injustice and kind of all the trauma that kicked up for folks, like, right, all the stuff that was happening politically and continue to happen. I mean, it's just been kind of one thing after another. And yet through that, the community at GEMS has stayed tight, and we've seen our young women, so many of our young women are doing amazing. We had our education initiative graduation recently, and 5 of our young women got A's, all A's for their college semester. I mean, right? That's a testament to like our college prep coordinator, who's done a fantastic job, and the rest of the economic empowerment team, and you know, the support from each other that the girls have like really leaned on one another through the college stuff. But you know, to see so many girls not just like entering college, but staying in college, and staying during a time where it was really, you needed a lot of focus to do the online stuff, has been phenomenal. To see young women really focused on their futures and really just kept pushing forward, when it would have been very, very easy to just kind of curl up in a ball and give up. And we all had days like that, but they have been phenomenal, and have just brought a lot of joy to me, to one another, and so there were times last year where it felt weird to like have joy during times that were right, especially early on. But we just kind of learned to embrace that and to hold on to those moments where we were, sitting on Zoom, cracking up laughing for hours, or, just really proud of somebody who was accomplishing something. And so, those issues that were there before the pandemic, right, and have continued to be there, a lot of those things, they're not going away. They've been exposed, those inequities, in ways that I think were kind of, not talked about in polite society before. But that doesn't mean that they're like changing, or changing quick enough to impact our girls' lives. And so look, we ask you, obviously it's a benefit. We're asking you to step up and donate generously, and think about even as people kind of go back to normal, or go back to right, our girls are still living in shelters. They're still struggling financially and economically to support their children. They're still dealing with DV relationships or abusive parents. They're still, struggling back and forth sometimes with the life, right? And that's kind of increased with new folks over the last year with the internet and everything that's been happening. And so we ask you to really think about kind of, not just, right, we need people's support, not just when the crisis is happening, but like, right, often it's afterwards when people have like kind of forgotten about the crisis and gone home, that organizations and individuals still need a ton of support, and we need that. We have really stepped up to support our young women with as many resources as possible. But we need resources in order to do that. And so, we invite you to be part of this community. Many of you already are. Many of you have been around for years. Many of you have, shown up over and over again, whether it's, coming to the gala, or, sending a check, or however your support has shown up, right? It's put food on the table. It's kept the light on. It's allowed me to employ some fantastic staff. And so, we need your support, more than ever. And we're excited to show you like the impact that your support has. 5 young women with A's. I mean, there was a point when we started Ed Initiative and started talking about girls who'd been in the life going to college, where people thought like I was kind of crazy, and people made little comments and didn't believe. And I mean, right, we're talking about young women who are more than fulfilling their potential and are on the road to like, real stability, and have developed, really healthy emotional, coping mechanisms. And I mean, it's just, I'm like, oh, I wish I'd been like that at 25. I wish I'd been like that. I wish I'd known that stuff at like 22. I did not. It took me a little bit longer to figure that stuff out, but right, they've had, their peers and alumni at GEMS and staff to kind of feed off of, and so they're getting to those stages a lot quicker than we did, which is kind of the goal, right? We want our young people to go further than we were able to. And so I could not be prouder of our young women. so I wasn't going to do this again. I could not be prouder of our young women. They're amazing. They deserve good things. They have a lot of odds stacked against them, and that requires resources, right? It requires books for school, it requires laptops, it requires food, it requires clothes for the baby. I mean, right? All of that. And so I hope you've had a glimpse, at least, at how awesome and incredible, you know, the GEMS community is. And again, you're part of that community, and we welcome you, if you haven't been part of our community, to kind of join, whatever that looks like. You know, we are more than the physical space that we've created over the years, and I am beyond proud that we've been able to kind of weather these storms and continue to weather these storms with just such a strong bond and loving, safe, supportive community intact that uplifts each other and encourages one another and looks out for one another. I mean, I think when, you know, I've talked to some of the older alumni staff, and you know, just how much we've been encouraged this year, I think has been by the girls, has been really just beautiful to see. So I hope you write a check. I hope you go on We Do, because then you can just donate easily, and it's much easier, and you can and the link is in the thing under me. I don't know what that thing is called. You know, I hope you share the video with friends, or share the auction. You can bid. You don't have to bid to the value. You can bid more than the value, because, right, the money goes to us. We can spend it on the girls. So I hope, you know, that there's been something tonight that has, you know, moved you or motivated you. We recognize that everyone has had a really tough time. And I think there was some reluctance last year even to just like ask for help, because we knew that like so many people were struggling. But yeah, we're at that point, right, where we want to kind of invite you back in and say, look, we can't do this without you. We've never been able to do this without you. We're where we're at because of you. We appreciate you. I'm grateful for, I'm like seeing faces of people, like, you know, this table normally sits here, and Lions Bernstein's over here, and these folks are over here, and the board, and you know, I'm really appreciative of how much love and support and care we've gotten over the years, and how much you've believed in me and my vision in the early years for GEMS, and how much you believe in our girls. So please write that check, stick in that credit card number, and help us to continue to do some really phenomenal work. And then you don't have to listen to me sniffle anymore. This was actually supposed to be my short video. All right, guys. Thank you. We love you. We miss you. And we cannot wait to see you in person live, and give you hugs and say thank you in person and all of that good stuff as soon as we can. Please be safe and well, and take care of yourselves and your families. And as the girls were saying earlier, go give yourself grace and just know, you know, you're doing your best. We're all doing our best right now. Bye.